I'm asked to share with you Singapore's single window experience. And so first I will start with some advertisement. I'm from CrimsonLogic. CrimsonLogic is a government-owned company. We are owned 55% by the trade body under the Ministry of Trade. It's called International Enterprise Singapore. And then the remaining 45% is co-owned by Civil Aviation Authority, Port of Singapore Authority, and Singapore Telecoms. So if you know Singapore, this means that we are 100% Singapore government linked, right? We do a number of things. We provide single window systems, port community systems, custom systems, and free trade zone systems. And so one of the things that I will do is that if we basically help countries to do trade facilitation strategic roadmap. In fact, we did this for Greece, the government of Greece, thanks to UNECE and EU. We did this for Greece, as well as we did a number of strategic roadmap for trade facilitation for a number of countries. We also use this thing called the single window implementation framework that has been developed by UN, and we use quite of this for implementation framework. So for those that are not familiar with this, I encourage you to look at the single window implementation framework that the UN has come up with. So we follow quite a lot of this. So these are the applications I just mentioned. And on top of that, we do a lot of what we call data visualization, trade data. I want to also add that this thing, reference model, data harmonization, risk management, these are essential modules needed for trade facilitation, needed for single window. You need to have a data harmonization, all right? So in fact, sometimes we don't do the single window for the country, but we help to do the data harmonization. For example, we are doing the data harmonization for Malaysia now. We finished Oman, and we're going to do for Hong Kong. So I'll explain this later on, the importance of data harmonization, the importance of risk management in the single window, as well as the reference model. So these are the list of projects that we do. We have done for, in terms of single window, we have done for about 14 countries. Some of the countries that we do the single window and customs system together, right? So with this we do for 5 countries. The government wanted that at the same time, they wanted a new customs system and together with a single window, right? So we call this the integrated single window customs management system. Depending on the country, in some countries, we do the single window and not the customs system. In fact, in Singapore, we do not do the custom system, right? Another company do the custom system. We only do the single window, right, in our own country. So the latest country is Oman. Kenya is in Africa. I'm the project director in Kenya. So, I know the issue, the pain of implementing. I've been in Kenya for 7 years, right from the time helping the government to justify, to get the funding, to set up a company, to go through the tender, and then now to do implementation, phase 1, phase 1A, phase 1B, phase 2. Well, I have gone through all this. Now, just to share very quickly the Singapore's journey. Everybody knows that we are a very small country and we rely on trade. Trade is very important. Trade is 4 times the GDP. Trade is 4 times our GDP, right? So if the system goes down, you know, our GDP will go down. What's interesting is that we have got a very huge 29.94 million in terms of the transshipment, in terms of containers. So we are the largest transshipment hub, not the largest port. Shanghai is the busiest port, but we are the largest transshipment hub. So we need to do things fast, right? Otherwise, we don't have value. Just to share with you that we have come a long way. 65. I was born before 65, so I think I'm old enough to tell you. Very poor. 65, no natural resources, small population, small capital, small market. we were quite, in 65, per capita income is $512. So that was in 65. 2006, we went up 59,000. So we have gone through that economic growth. What I want to share is that this economic growth is not always constant. You're up and down. We have recession. We have recession in 86, recession in 90. And one of the recession is in the 80s when we have a recession, that we look into how during the recession we could make ourselves, improve ourselves while we are having the recession. So it was actually during the recession that the single window, our TRADENET, was conceived. So that when the market builds up, we are more ready after the recession. So in our case, opportunity arise in times of crisis. It was right in the crisis that we look into improvement. So right now it's about 26 years since we implemented the Singapore's TRADENET. We have gone through 26 years of operation. So what happened was that during the recession, the government set up an economic committee to determine what are the strategies in order for us to improve economic competitiveness. And in during the 85, we decided that IT was the way to do. And then 86, Hong Kong government announced they want to do a similar system. When Hong Kong wants to do it, Singapore has to follow. And Singapore has to, you know, try to do it earlier than Hong Kong. So anyway, Hong Kong also did the same thing. And so the agency that started this was the Trade Development Board, the body that was that's in charge of our import-export, right? So they are the body, but they get the help of customs, port authority, and civil aviation. So this is the key setup. Now, one of the things is that when you do a single window, you got to justify, because it's not just the investment, it's a lot of work and a lot of resources. So what was the justification? So IBM, we got IBM to do the survey, and IBM compute that there will be $1 billion savings in terms of the ecosystem. And they did this study. That was 85, all right? So I think that was this figure. The newspaper liked this figure. They put in $1 billion worth of savings. Then it creates the political situation where there is a very tangible figure being shown that this is worthwhile to do. The other thing is the structure. We created a steering committee to oversee the process. The next thing is that we have got a strong political will. So the minister himself, Minister of Trade and Industry, Mr. Lee Hsien Loong, he was the one who announced the project, and then he set the deadline that he has to complete in 2 years, right? So he's now the Prime Minister. So we always say that the single window is a good project for the politician, right? If he's successful, he can become a Prime Minister. Yeah. So you can see in June 87, we issued the RFP. In about 6 months later, the government decided to set up a company. This company is Singapore Network Services, which is known as CrimsonLogic today. This company was created to operate and own the system, right? So we didn't, it's not a government department. It was a special purpose vehicle to be set up to manage and own the system. 89, so RFP was issued 87. The company was set up 88, March 88. 89 January, TRADENET went live, right? So initial investment was in excess of $10 million US. So what do we do? Now, over 27 years, our cost now is $456 for export. And we reduced the days for import-export to 5 days and 4 days, right? 4 days, 5 days to export because the documentation is submitted after the vessel leaves the port. So they take a bit longer. And 4 documents, BL, invoice, declaration, packing list, the 4 documents. So this is, we have reduced the cost and the days. Now, TRADENET we integrate 34 government agencies in addition to customs. So with customs, we have 35 agencies. Now 100% of the transaction was processed by the system. But in day one, it wasn't 100%, right? We give ourselves 4 years to 5 years in order to reach 100%. We took around 3 years to reach 100%, right? Because you still, even if you make it mandatory, you still have to convince the community to go electronic, to get themselves electronic. So it's not, in case you think that even now with internet, you think that you start the system, in day one, you get 100%. Not the case, right? We have now got 9 million transactions per year. We have got about 40,000 transactions a day. The thing is that 40,000 transactions a day is not equal in the 24 hours, right? Majority of the transactions come maybe between 9:30 to 11:30. Then lunchtime, very few transactions. Then 2:30 to 3:45, before the tea break, the transaction go up. So the system must handle peak loads. You have to design the system to handle peak loads, right? And that's very important to design. The other interesting thing is that we have got 8,000 business rules. Why 8,000 business rules? Because we get the business rules from all the 35 agencies. Basically, we only got one form. The form is to apply for declaration and to apply for the permit. So if you import chemicals, right, you submit, it will go to customs and it will go to the department in charge of chemicals. All right, so it's one same web form. You send it to the system. The system has all the rules for risk management, whether it's green lane, yellow lane, red lane, inspection, no inspection. It will tell the person who submit whether you get the approval, right? And if you are a trusted trader, if government think that you are okay, you are a regular trader, you normally get your approval very fast, under 3 minutes or under 10 minutes. The SLA is under 10 minutes, right? So over the years, it's not easy to actually talk to all the government departments and then work with them and put the rules in one system. So the thing about it is that, which I always say, the risk management, the agency who knows risk management in any country is always customs. Customs know how to do risk management better than the other agencies. But normally, it is the customs system that you have the risk management, right? What I'm suggesting is that it's important to put the risk management module in the single window so that the other non-customs department can put their rules there. Because risk management is not just customs, it's about the entire government agency. So where do you put the risk management? Inside single window or inside customs? Right? Customs will not like other departments to put their rules in the customs system. So that's why in the design of a single window, you have to think carefully about having the risk management module in the single window. I have seen many RFP tender that government has put up for single window. Very few single window tender has put a risk management module in the single window. I can share with you New Zealand single window has got a risk management module. Pakistan tender for the single window has got a risk management module, right? So I will encourage you to, in your design, please consider having the risk management where customs have to take the lead, because customs knows risk management in your single window system. So some of the benefits, we have reduced the processing time from days to minutes. Now the cost is quite low. The cost is now $2.88 to submit the declaration. This is the government charge, $2.88 now. But if you ask the freight forwarder will charge the company maybe $30 or $25. So a lot of freight forwarders will make a lot of money through this. We reduced from 4 to 35 documents to 1 electronic form to submit for the permit and declaration. So these slides will be given to you. I won't go through every one of them, but these are the before and after the benefits, right? So how it works? Well, you submit the declaration or the permit, TRADENET will process it, right? It will process it according to the 8,000 rules. If these rules say that I still have to send it to customs because something is not right, doesn't pass the rule, it will then send it to customs or the controlling agency, all right? And they will then say that I want to see the invoice, I want to see the packing list. Only then they will scan the invoice and the packing list for the officer to see. When you submit the time, you do not need to attach the packing list, CO, invoice, right? That's the way it is. Mainly because we have these rules. Then if it's passed, we deduct the fee. The fee is electronic, and then the user can print the permit, and with the permit, he can go and clear his cargo. This is a detailed process. We have got inward and outward. Inward is inward with payment. We don't have a lot of duties, so we have a lot of GST. All the goods and services tax, all the goods come in with 7% GST, right? Or if you come in because you are a diplomat, you are embassy, you are VIP, you have non-payment, right? Then outward, transshipment, and the system provides preferential COO, electronic COO. At the back end, this is where we have the 8,000 rules. We do the syntax check, we do the business process check. For example, you submit a declaration and your watch comes from Geneva, and you say the watch is $80, right? If the watch comes from Switzerland, it's not going to be $80. Marcus, his watch from Switzerland is about $120, slightly dearer. So the system should be able to check that normally there's under declaration, right? So this is how we apply for the things. There's an inward non-payment, inward payment, outward with or without the certificate of origin, transshipment and movement within the country, and certificate of origin, right? So this is some of the menu. In the payment, whether you pay duties, GST, duties and GST. Duties and GST is only for 4 items: alcohol, tobacco, automotive, and petroleum, right? So there's only 4 with, in Singapore is only 4 with duties or blanket exemption. So non-payment is because of free trade zone, approved premises, relief, exemption, destruction, re-export, temporary consignments. These are the non-payment. Transshipment, we have a lot of transshipment. 90% of our cargo is transshipment. So transshipment within the same free trade zone, inter-gateway movement, meaning that is you come by sea, go out by air, multimodal, right? Removal. Then we have certificate of origin for preferential certificate of origin in the TRADENET system. Now, risk management. Just to let you know that of the 9 million or 9.3 million declarations a year, all right, about 1% is targeted as red lane, right? A lot of majority is approved. We target 1% as for the inspection for red lane. One of the things is that we do a lot of what we call post-clearance audit or AEO, right? If you have a post-clearance audit or AEO, and you trust the submitter, right? Let it go first. But in some cases, we target 1%. So that's how we do the risk management within TRADENET. We do a lot of risk profiles, all right? And profile the high risk groups for targeting. This is the menu screen. This is a typical menu screen where you submit your permit. I just want to show you that this, sorry, is a bit small, but I want to show you, I hope you can see. In here, if you know the declaration, now, if the person who approved, the department who approved, they will stamp behind your declaration. Maybe you have 1 stamp, 2 stamp, 3 stamp. what we have done this is the electronic stamp. Here we can say that this agriculture department has approved, the chemical department has approved, all right? So from this permit, you can see all the which department has already said they approve, and they approve according to a code, right? This is a code given, right? So in one hand, you clear customs and you clear the other government agencies through this permit. Okay, I'm asked to say about the TFA. So the TFA provides a lot of things, and one of this is single window, elimination of PSI, and so what I think basically, in generally we meet all of this in the TFA within Singapore. So the other speakers has mentioned this, so I won't elaborate on that. What do we learn? This is my second last slide. We learn that a strong agency in the beginning, the Trade Development Board is a strong agency under the minister. We learned that we have to create a steering committee, right? We have to understand the trade process and how to reduce number of forms to 20 to 91. Actually, now, today, I'm doing the study for Hong Kong, government of Hong Kong. They have given me 93 forms. And I have to study all the forms, all the data element, and to look into how I reduce 93 forms, not to one form. I don't think it's possible to reduce 93 forms to one form. But this is the fun of it. I have to collect all the forms. Some of the forms are in Chinese. I have to ask the interpreter, and all different meaning. So this is one of the fun. If you start the project, to collect all the forms, talk to all the people, and see how you can reduce the forms. I just want to share with you one important experience through all my projects. If this system is led by IT people, and if the person see this project as an IT project, all right, I think it is highly not recommended. This project is nothing to do with IT. It's not about having a software system. Although we use the technology to enable it, but every time when I go to a country, and if the person in charge sees this as an IT project, I know that either I will be in trouble or I quickly walk away. I've been to one country who tells me he got one very big important requirement for his single window. He wants to use Dell. I'm asking him, so what is your objective? Right? Do you want to reduce number of documents? Do you want to reduce number of days? You want to reduce costs? He tell me his biggest requirement, I want to use Dell machine. So I quickly walk away, right? You can't, if there's anything I can share with you, please, if you see your project turning as an IT project, or the person running it just see as an IT project, as a technology project, it is a recipe for disaster. Please, this is a project that is more about business process. It's about serving the traders. Technology is just an enabler, right? And you have to choose the right people to run the project. You need the technical people, all right? But you also need the business process people, right? And you have to choose the right people to run the show. So with this, I think the other thing is that the government has to play a very important role. This kind of project is both government and private sector, and the government has to champion. You have to have a champion of this. The other thing, my last message is that this requires new ideas and new way of doing business, right? You cannot design a system for your existing way. You got to look for new ways of doing things, new thoughts in how to do things, right? And that's the key of doing this such a project, right? Thank you very much.